Chapter 1. A birthday sacrificed for adult vanity. Quit throwing a fit. A kid's birthday isn't worth missing a once-in-a-lifetime elite cruise. Ethan Shaw RP. Dismissive voice sliced through the quiet living room the second I finished begging him to stay home. The tone was cold, final, and laced with pure annoyance, like my daughter's 6th birthday was nothing more than a petty inconvenience ruining his big break. I stood frozen in the middle of the room, fingers curled tight around Mia's trembling small hand, the crumpled cake reservation slip in my other palm crinkling under my grip. I'd worked 12 straight double shifts at the neighborhood diner, skipped every personal expense for 3 months, and skipped 2 routine medical checkups just to afford this tiny, simple birthday cake for my little girl. For 6 whole years, Mia had never had a real birthday celebration. Every single year, her special day got pushed aside for my husband's business mixers, my in-laws' family gatherings, or my brother's random outings. Every year, she'd smile and say it was okay, even when I saw the quiet disappointment in her big round eyes. This year, I'd sworn I'd give her one perfect day. No interruptions, no neglect, no being an afterthought. But my family had other plans. The exclusive private cruise hosted by Julian Hale, Wall Street's most fear-red, unfeeling business tycoon, had dropped a handful of local guest invitations months prior. Ethan had spent half a year kissing up to middlemen, lying about his company status, and sucking up to every minor elite contact just to score one spot. When he somehow locked in 4 tickets, the entire family lost their minds with excitement. 4 tickets. Ethan, his mother, my parents, my deadbeat younger brother. 0 tickets for me. 0 tickets for Mia. Daddy promised me, Mia whispered, her voice thin and wobbly. She tilted her head up at Ethan, her chubby cheeks flushed with quiet hope. You said you'd blow candles with me this year. You pinky promised. Ethan didn't even bother kneeling down to meet her eyes. He just tossed his designer sunglasses into his luggage and scoffed, ruthless and unapologetic. Pinky promises to kids don't count, Mia. Grow up. This cruise can make my CA rear. Your stupid cake pa Rudy can't. My mother-in-law sank deeper into the leather sofa, crossing her arms with a look of unbridled contempt. She'd never hidden her hatred for Mia, purely because she was a girl and couldn't see ARRY on the family name. She's just a useless little girl anyway. Birthday's a real waste of time and money. We're finally getting a chance to mingle with real billionaires, and you two want to ruin it over childish nonsense. I turned to my own parents, desperate for even a shred of empathy, only to feel my heart turn completely cold. My mom was busy folding her brand new silk resort dress, chattering about taking viral cruise photos. My dad was polishing a pair of leather shoes he'd bought just for the event. My brother was rummaging through Ethan's closet, stealing a luxury bracelet to gift his girlfriend for clout. None of them glanced at Mia's handmade birthday drawings taped all over the fridge. None of them acknowledged the quiet tears welling up in my daughter's eyes. She's 6 years old today, I said, my voice shaking with suppressed rage and grief. She waits 365 days for one single day of being special. Can't one of you stay? Just one person. Why would we sacrifice a luxury cruise for a housewife's brat? My brother snapped without looking up. You're so dramatic. We'll buy her a lollipop when we get back. That's more than enough. A lollipop. For a 6-year-old's only birthday of a year, I read at my family, blood and mariage alike, and finally saw the truth I'd spent 6 years ignoring. I was never part of this family. Mia was never part of this family. We were just background characters, tools for their convenience, people to sacrifice for their vanity and success. Every chore I did, every bill I covered, every grievance I swallowed was expected. Every single one of their selfish wants came before our basic happiness. The cruise boa RDS at sunset, Ethan said flatly, zipping his $1,000 suitcase shut. We leave in 20 minutes. You two stay home. Don't call, don't text, don't guilt trip us. This opportunity doesn't come twice in a lifetime. What about her feelings? I shouted, finally breaking after years of silence. What about the little girl who cries every night wondering why no one loves her enough to stay? Feelings don't pay the bills. My mother-in-law shot back Shaw RPLY. Ethan's CA rear feeds this household. Your daughter's trivial feelings don't mean a thing. 20 minutes later, the black luxury Chaoru de CA are pulled up outside the villa gates. One by one, they walked out, laughing and chatting, loaded down with designer luggage and brand new resort hair. Not a single one of them said happy birthday. Not a single one hugged Mia. Not a single one spa read us a second glance. As the CA are pulled away, my mom rolled down the window and yelled one last cold instruction. Water the garden, clean the master bedroom, and don't mess up the house while we're gone. We'll be back in 7 days. The door slammed shut on our quiet, empty home. The laughter faded into the distance, leaving nothing but dead silence in its wake. Mia squeezed my hand tighter, her small body trembling. She wiped her own TRS with the back of her tiny sleeve and looked up at me with a maturity no child should ever possess. It's okay, Mommy. I only need you anyway. I knelt down, pulled her into my ARMS, and buried my face in her soft hair. My heart ached so fiercely I could rely breathe. They'd sacrificed my daughter's birthday for a fake elite status. They'd chosen vanity over family, clout over kindness, and selfishness over the little girl who'd loved them all unconditionally. In that moment, I swore 2 things. I would give Mia the best birthday possible, even if the whole world abandoned her. And one day, every single person who overlooked and hurt her would regret their cruel, selfish choice. Chapter 2, a humble birthday, and a selfless little RT. The sunset painted the suburban sky in soft hues of peach and gold, but the RMTH never touched our empty villa. Every corner echoed with the silence of abandonment, every empty room a reminder that we were alone on Mia's special day. I wiped the last of my TRS, lifted my chin, and squeezed my daughter's hand firmly. Let's go celebrate our birthday, baby. Just you and me. It's going to be perfect. Mia's puffy red eyes lit up instantly. She nodded vigorously, her small fingers lacing tightly through mine, clinging to me like I was her only anchor in the world. We walked hand in hand down the neighborhood sidewalk, past the fancy houses where families laughed and grilled for weekend gatherings, past kids riding bikes with their parents cheering them on. Every step reminded me of how unfairly my little girl had always been treated. We stopped at the small local bakery downtown, the same one Mia had read it through the window for months. The owner knew me well. She'd watched me scrape together spa change every week just to save for this cake. Without me asking, she added extra strawberry frosting, a handful of colorful sprinkles, and a free chocolate tea on top, her eyes soft with sympathy when she saw Mia's still wet eyes. Happy 6th birthday, sweet girl, she said gently, handing over the neatly boxed cake. You deserve all the joy today. Mia whispered a quiet thank you, her manners perfect even after a day of heat break. My daughter was kinder than every adult who'd abandoned her combined. We walked to the quiet waterfront bench overlooking the city's private cruise harbor. The massive white luxury cruise ship loomed in the distance, its decks lined with sparkling fairy lights, soft jazz music drifting across the water, faint laughter and clinking glasses floating on the sea breeze. That was the ship my family had left us for. A world of glitz, glamour, and empty status that meant nothing compared to a child's happiness. I spread out a cheap disposable tablecloth on the bench, set down the cake, and lit 6 thin birthday candles. The tiny flames flickered in the sea wind, casting golden light over Mia's small, hopeful face. Make a wish, baby, I whispered. Mia closed her eyes tight, folded her little hands together, and whispered her wish so softly only the wind could hear it. When she blew out the candles in one quick breath, she opened her eyes and smiled, the first genuine, unburdened smile she'd had all day. My wish came true, she said happily. I get to eat cake with my mommy. That's all I ever wanted. My throat tightened with TRS. Other 6-year-olds wished for toys, trips, giant parties. My daughter wished only for my company, because that was the only consistent love she'd ever known. I pulled out my birthday gift for her, A hand-woven STA, our bracelet I'd stayed up dozens of nights making. Every tiny STA was woven from colored string I'd bought with tip money from the diner, every knot tied with endless love. I slipped it gently onto her thin wrist. Every STA is a piece of mommy's love, I told her. No matter who leaves you, no matter what happens, my love for you never fades. Mia traced the STARS with her fingertip, her smile bright and pure. We split the small strawberry cake bite by bite, savoring every sweet mouthful. It was cheap, simple, and unassuming, but it was ours, untainted by selfishness, free of neglect, full of pure mother-daughter RMTH. As we finished eating, we passed a tiny roadside stall run by an elderly retired teacher. She sold handmade fabric flowers, delicate and soft, each one stitched by hand with Mia froze in place, her eyes fixed on a single pure white lily. It was small, simple, and unpretentious, just like her. Do you want it, baby? I'll buy it for you, I offered immediately. Mia shook her head, then nodded slowly, her little brows furrowed in serious thought. I want to give it away, Mommy. The big cruise ship belongs to a nice sir, right? Everyone went to his Pa Rudy to have fun. He let everyone be happy today. I want to thank him. I froze completely. My daughter had been abandoned on her birthday. She'd been forgotten, overlooked, and cast aside for that very cruise. Yet instead of feeling hatred, resentment, or bitterness, she chose gratitude. She chose kindness. My heart swelled with pride and heart all at once. No child that young should have that much grace after being hurt by every adult in their life. I paid $2 for the fabric lily. Mia held it with both hands, cradling it like a priceless treasure, reeful not to crumple a single petal. We stood by the waterfront railing, watching the cruise ship glow brighter as night fell, unawe that our quiet, humble moment was about to collide with the most powerful man in the entire city. A sudden strong sea breeze swept across the harbor, rustling our hair and fluttering Mia's small flower. At the exact same time, a matte black bulletproof luxury sedan cruised slowly down the waterfront road, stopping directly beside our bench. The CAR had no logos, no flashy decorations, but the oppressive, icy aura surrounding it screamed power and authority. Everyone in the business world knew this CAR. It belonged to Julian Hale, the ruthless, unyielding billionaire tyco, and who'd built his empire on cold logic, zero mercy, and uncompromising dominance. He was known for being unemotional, unapproachable, and completely immune to sentiment. No one had ever seen him soften. No one had ever seen him cry. Our door opened. A tall, broad-shouldered man in a tailored black suit stepped out. His features were sharp and chiseled, his eyes deep, cold, and bottomless, his posture rigid with the weight of a man who controlled billions. His elite body RDS fanned out instantly, forming a strict protective perimeter, every movement precise and disciplined. I instinctively pulled Mia back, terrified we'd intruded on his private space. But before I could move, my little girl broke free from my grip, clutched her white fabric lily tight, and ran straight to the coldest billionaire in the city. Chapter 3 One small gift shatters a billionaire's cold air. The body RDS tensed instantly, hands hovering their waists, ready to intercept the running child. Their faces were stern and alert, trained to neutralize any potential threat to Mr. Hale within seconds. Ordinary people never dare approach the tyco, and let alone sprint him unannounced. But Julian Hale lifted one hand in a subtle, commanding gesture, freezing his team in place. His cold, unblinking gaze locked onto the small running figure. No irritation, no impatience, only quiet, unreadable curiosity. Mia skidded to a stop directly in front of him, slightly out of breath, her chubby cheeks flushed pink from running. She stood tall and brave, no fear in her big clear eyes, STA ring straight up at the towering stranger in front of her. She didn't flinch from his intimidating aura. She didn't shy away from his cold STA. I stood 10 feet away, my heart pounding wildly in my chest, every muscle tensed in panic. I knew the rumors. Julian Hale fired employees over minor mistakes. He crushed rival companies without hesitation. He cut off lifelong partners for tiny betrayals. He was a man who felt nothing, CA read about nothing, and SPA read no one. Yet my 6-year-old daughter stood fearlessly before him, holding out her handmade flower with pure, unspoiled sincerity. She tilted her head up, her voice clear, steady, and sweet enough to cut through decades of coldness. Sir, this small gift is for you. The entire waterfront fell dead silent. The bodyguard's jaws went slack with shock. The wind stopped rustling. Even the distant cruise music seemed to fade away for a heartbeat. Mr. Hale had received millions of dollars worth of gifts every single day of his adult life. Luxury watches, RART, custom jewelry, vintage wine, exclusive real estate deeds. Every gift was expensive, polished, and calculated, wrapped in greed and ambition. Every person who'd ever given him a gift wanted something in return, a contract, a connection, a promotion, a favor. Never once had someone given him a $2 handmade fabric flower with zero expectations, zero greed, zero agenda. Never once had a stranger approached him with pure, unselfish kindness. His cold eyes dropped slowly to the fragile white lily in her small hands. His sharp brows, always furrowed with authority and severity, softened almost imperceptibly. For the first time in 20 years, his perfectly controlled expression cracked. Mia didn't notice his internal shift. She just held the flower higher, her little face earnest and honest, speaking her truth without filter or fear. Today is my 6th birthday, she said clearly. My whole family went to your big cruise party to have fun. They said my birthday wasn't important enough to stay home for. But I'm not mad. Thank you for letting them have a good day. This flower is my birthday gift to you. Those simple, childlike words landed like a wrecking ball on Julian Hale's cold heart. I watched from the distance, tears burning my eyes. My daughter had every right to be angry, bitter, and sad. She'd been abandoned and overlooked on her birthday. Yet she chose gratitude. She chose goodness. Mr. Hale's Adam's apple bobbed once, a sign of emotion. He slowly bent his towering frame, lowering himself to Mia's level, humbling the pride of a self-made billionaire who'd never bowed to anyone. His long, slender fingers, calloused from years of ruthless business deals, steady in every high-stakes negotiation, moved with unbelievable gentleness as he took the tiny fabric flower from her hands. His fingers trembled.
Just rely.
But I saw it.
Thank you, he said.
His deep, gravelly voice was softer than I'd ever heard any man speak. This is the best gift I have ever received. Mia beamed, showing her 2 tiny front tiger teeth. You're welcome. I hope your party is super fun. Mr. Hale read at her bright, innocent smile for a long, long time. His cold eyes, once empty and unfeeling, began to glisten. The ruthless tyco, and who'd never shed a tear through bankruptcies, betrayals, and billion-dollar losses, was fighting back tears in front of a 6-year-old stranger. Why didn't you go to the cruise with your family? He asked quietly, his tone gentle enough not to scare her. Mia shrugged her small shoulders, honest and unresentful. They said my birthday was trivial. The party was more important than me. Trivial. The word hung in the air, sharp and cruel. The icy aura surrounding Julian Hale exploded outway RD in an instant. The gentle softness vanished completely, replaced by a bone-chilling, terrifying fury that made every bodyguard flinch. His gaze turned sharp enough to slice steel, his jaw tightening with suppressed rage. He knew that pain. He knew that exact abandonment. He'd lived it. Before anyone could process the shift in his mood, he turned his head bodyguard and issued a single, unyielding order that would rewrite every single person's fate on that cruise ship. Shut down the entire cruise party. Effective immediately. All guests dismiss RK at once. No exceptions. Chapter 4A Billionaires 20 are Hidden Regret, 3008 words. The head bodyguard RD's eyes widened in pure shock. He'd worked for Julian Hale for a decade, and he'd never once seen his boss cancel a multi-million-dollar lead event on a whim. This cruise party was the year's most anticipated business gathering, attended by every top-tier CEO, investor, and social elite in the state. Hundreds of powerful people had read their schedules for months to attend. Sir, the bodyguard RD hesitated cautiously. The entire business elite circle is ABOA road. Canceling now will create massive industry backlash. I don't see a Mr. Hale cut him off, his voice cold and final. Cancel it. Every reservation, every arrangement, every scheduled networking session. All of it ends tonight. There was no room for argument. No negotiation. No compromise. The man who ruled the business world had spoken, and the entire elite gathering was instantly worthless. While the bodyguard RD rushed to execute the order, Julian Hale turned his full attention back to Mia, the rage in his eyes fading into profound, aching sorrow. He knelt fully on one knee in front of her, his expensive suit brushing the concrete waterfront pavement, caring nothing for dirt or status. No one had ever seen the untouchable billionaire kneel for anyone. Until now. I have a secret, he whispered to Mia, his voice vulnerable and raw, a side of him no human being had ever witnessed. When I was young, I had a little sister. She was 6 years old, just like you. I stood frozen, listening in quiet shock as he uncovered the deepest secret of his life. The reason behind his endless coldness, his fear of family RMTH, his ruthless obsession with success. It was her 6th birthday, he continued, his voice trembling slightly. Our entire family left her alone at home to attend a high-society business banquet. They told her the same thing your family told you. Her birthday was trivial. Their status and connections matter more. They left her waiting all night by the window, hoping someone would come home to celebrate with her. His eyes glistened with unshed tears, the decades-old grief finally breaking free after being locked away for 20 years. We never came home in time. She fell asleep waiting for us, caught a severe winter fever, and passed away before sunrise. I never got to apologize. I never got to celebrate her birthday. I never got to tell her she mattered. My heart shattered completely. All his coldness, his ruthlessness, his emotional detachment made sense now. He wasn't born cruel. He'd spent 20 years punishing himself for a childhood mistake, drowning his guilt in work and wealth, building an icy wall around his heart to never feel that crippling regret again. Mia tilted her head, her innocent heart sensing his pain, even if she didn't fully understand the story. She lifted her small hand and gently wiped the tear sliding down his sharp cheek, her touch soft and comforting. Don't cry, sir, she said softly. Crying makes your heart hurt. Today is my birthday, so today is a happy day. You can be happy with me. That simple, pure gesture broke Julian Hale completely. A single tear slipped down his face, falling onto the white fabric Lily clutched in his hand. The cold, unbreakable business king was crying in front of a 6-year-old girl he'd never met before tonight. You're so kind, he whispered hoarsely. So incredibly kind. After they abandoned you, after they overlooked you, you still choose to be gentle to the world. My sister was just like you. She never held a grudge either. He stood up slowly, tucking the fragile fabric flower carefully into the inner breast pocket of his suit, pressing it over his heart like a sacred treasure. He then turned to me, his red eyes filled with solemn resolve. Your daughter is a gift to this world, he said firmly, and no one who hurt her tonight deserves any ounce of the happiness or success they chased by abandoning her. I will make this right for her. I will give her the birthday she deserves. And every single person who chose vanity over her will pay the full price of their selfishness. Before I could reply, the cruise ship's bright lights began shutting off one by one across the harbor. The music cut out instantly. The laughter died completely. The grand elite party my family had sacrificed everything for was gone in an instant. all because a little girl's kindness had melted a billionaire's frozen heart on the Darkening shore. Far behind us, I could see the confused, panicked silhouettes of my family as they were abruptly forced off the cruise ship, their dreams of status and glory crumbling to dust before their eyes. Chapter 5. Their vanity dream crumbles to ash back on the cruise deck. Chaos erupted the second the global announcement read across every speaker system. All entertainment, dining, and networking activities were terminated immediately. Every guest was ordered to dismissive within 10 minutes with no exceptions. The entire elite crowd was stunned speechless. CDLOS, investors, social celebrities, and high-ranking officials all froze mid-conversation, their glasses frozen in midair, their smiles wiped clean from their faces. This was unheard of. Julian Hale never canceled events. He never wasted elite guests' time. He never disrupted his own perfectly planned business gatherings. Ethan stood in the center of the crowd, moments away from pitching his business proposal to a group of top investors he'd been chasing for years. For 6 months, he'd bragged, lied, and schemed for this exact moment. He'd sacrificed his daughter's birthday, ignored his family's basic humanity, and mocked our feelings just to stand in this room. When the cancellation announcement hit, his face drained of all color in an instant. His hand shook so hard his wine glass sloshed red liquid over his expensive shirt. All the confidence and arrogance he'd ride all night vanished in a single second. "What's happening?" he muttered in blind panic, scanning the crowd for answers. "This can't be real. This parody was guaranteed. I was supposed to close my biggest deal tonight." My mother-in-law's smug, superior expression crumbled completely. She'd spent the entire night bragging to wealthy socialites about her son's rising empire, mocking me as an ungrateful, useless housewife who held her husband back. Now she stood frozen, embarrassed, and confused as every high society woman around her whispered and read. My parents and my brother were equally devastated. They'd spent the entire night taking hundreds of luxury photos, planning to flood their social media feeds with cruise clout to impress their friends. My brother had been bragging about his upcoming elite connections to fund his failing startup. All of it was gone. The cruise staff moved with cold, mechanical efficiency, guiding every guest toward the disembarkation ramp with zero sympathy. No explanations were given beyond the official company line, order issued directly by Julian Hale. No one dared protest. No one dared question. Every powerful elite in the room knew better than to argue with the most ruthless man in the business world. Ethan grabbed a passing senior staff member, desperation thick in his voice. "Sir, please, can I stay just 5 more minutes? I have a critical business pitch. I've waited 6 months for this opportunity." The staff member read at him blankly, his tone indifferent and final. "Mr. Hale has suspended all business and social activity for the night. No exceptions. Please dismissive immediately, or you'll be escorted off forcibly." Forcibly escorted off. In front of every elite he'd been trying to impress, Ethan's face burned with shame and horror. He stumbled backward, completely defeated, as every investor he'd wanted to impress walked past him without a second glance. All his fully built fake status collapsed instantly. Within 10 minutes, the entire cruise was emptied of guests. The sparkling lights shut off. The gourmet buffets were abandoned. The expensive champagne went flat. The grand, glamorous party they'd sacrificed me his birthday for was nothing but an empty, dark ship floating on the harbor water. My family stood huddled together on the cold waterfront pavement, humiliated and defeated, surrounded by confused and furious elites. Every person they'd tried to impress was now staring at them with disdain, knowing they'd been part of the useless, cancelled guest list. Why would he cancel everything? My mother-in-law hissed, voice trembling with rage and disbelief. What could possibly be more important than this gathering? None of them knew the answer. None of them knew their entire night of vanity had been destroyed because they'd abandoned a kind little girl on her birthday. None of them knew the billionaire they'd begged to impress had fallen apart over the pain they'd inflicted on their own family member. As they stood wallowing in their failure and embarrassment, they suddenly lifted their eyes to the waterfront bench. Their breath caught in their throats. There, standing beside Julian Hale on the brightly lit private cruise deck, was me and Mia. My daughter was laughing, playing with fairy lights, being doted on by the most powerful man in the city, while they stood shivering in the dark, defeated and forgotten. Chapter 6: The Little Girl's Exclusive Royal Birthday. While my family drowned in humiliation and regret on the dark public shore, Julian Hale transformed his multi-million-dollar, our elite cruise ship into a private, exclusive birthday parade solely for Mia. Every staff member on Boa RD was reassigned to cater to her every wish. The grand ballroom was stripped of all business decor and redesigned with pink and gold birthday balloons, twinkling fairy lights, and fluffy cloud decorations. A massive 3-tier custom strawberry birthday cake, Mia's favorite flavor, was brought out, decorated with handcrafted suga stars and tiny edible lilies matching her gift. All the luxury desserts, imported fruits, premium ice cream, and gourmet snacks reserved for the world's richest elites were laid out on a long banquet table just for her. Every game room, movie theater, and entertainment deck on the entire cruise was opened exclusively for her use. Julian Hale put aside every billion-dollar business obligation, every elite networking opportunity, and every high-stakes deal to spend the entire night celebrating a 6-year-old girl's birthday. He walked beside her slowly, kneeling repeatedly to adjust her balloon strings, wipe frosting from her cheek, and listen intently to every silly, childish story she rambled about. The ruthless Tycho, who never wasted a second of his time on trivial matters, sat cross-legged on the cruise deck floor, playing bubble games and sticker puzzles with Mia like a gentle family member. I stood off to the side, watching the unbelievable scene with tears in my eyes. For 6 years, my daughter had been told she was trivial, useless, and unworthy of attention. Tonight, the most powerful man in the country treated her like the most precious treasure in the world. "Do you like your birthday party, sweet girl?" Julian asked softly, watching her spin in circles under the fairy lights. Mia nodded so hard her pigtails bounced. "It's the best party ever. But the best party is you and Mommy being with me." His eyes softened completely. He reached into his suit pocket and pulled out a delicate custom silver star necklace, inlaid with tiny polished diamonds, matching the hand-woven star bracelet I'd made her. "This is my birthday gift for you," he said, gently fastening it around her neck. "Every star is a promise. From today, 4-way RD, you will never be abandoned on your birthday again. You will never feel unimportant again." Mia hugged his arm tightly, her small face pressed against his suit sleeve. "Thank you, Uncle Hale. You're the nicest person ever." Julian Hale froze for a split second, then slowly relaxed, allowing the innocent child's hug. No one had touched him with such pure warmth in 20 years. No one had loved him without agenda, without greed, without expectation. Mia's simple affection healed wounds he'd thought would never close. Down on the public shore, my family watched this entire scene unfold in agony and disbelief. They stood huddled together, helpless and frozen, sta ring at the arm, perfect birthday celebration they'd thrown away for empty vanity. Ethan's face was contorted with rage and regret. He'd spent half a year sacrificing his family for this cruise, only to watch his own daughter receive exclusive royal treatment from the billionaire he'd begged to meet. The contrast was torturous beyond words. My mother-in-law's pride crumbled completely. She'd spent years mocking Mia for being a worthless girl, claiming she'd never amount to anything. Now the child she'd belittled was being cherished by the most powerful man in the nation. My parents and brother sta read on in bitter jealousy, realizing their night of luxury clout had been destroyed by their own cruelty and selfishness. The status they'd craved more than family warmth was now being handed freely to the little girl they'd abandoned. Driven by desperate greed, Ethan finally snapped. He sprinted Tawa RD the cruise boa riding ramp, yelling loudly across the water, desperate to get the attention of the billionaire who could fix his ruined career. "MIA, baby." Daddy's here. Let Daddy come up and celebrate with you. His desperate shout cut through the wah cruise music, ruining the peaceful atmosphere in an instant. Mia heard his voice and turned her head. But there was no longing, no excitement, no childish hope in her eyes. Only quiet, empty indifference. She glanced at him for half a second, then turned back to her cake and her new birthday celebration, completely unaffected. Her childish love for her father had died the moment he chose Vanity over her birthday. Julian Hale's wah expression vanished instantly. He stepped in front of Mia protectively, his cold, furious gaze locking onto Ethan's desperate figure on the shore. The gentle elder was gone. The ruthless business tyrant had returned. Chapter 7 Empty regret cannot fix a broken child's love. Let me up. She's my daughter. I have a right to be there. Ethan's frantic shouting echoed across the harbor, loud and desperate, filled with nothing but self-serving panic. He didn't see that he'd hurt his daughter. He didn't see that he'd ruined her birthday. He only read that he was missing out on the elite connection that could save his failing career. Julian Hale's voice boomed across the deck, cold and unforgiving, cutting through Ethan's noise like a blade. You have no rights here. Not to her. Not to this celebration. Not to any kindness or blessing I have to give. Ethan froze mid-rush, his face turning pale with terror. All the elites on the shore turned to stare at him, witnessing his public humiliation. My mother-in-law rushed forward, dropping all her previous arrogance, putting on a fake humble smile and bowing repeatedly to the cruise deck. Mr. Hale, sir. It's our family's mistake. We were ignorant and foolish. We didn't mean to neglect the child. Please forgive our foolishness and let us make amends. My parents joined in the begging, their voices shaky and desperate. We're her grandparents. We love her RLY. We just made a small mistake. Please let us celebrate her birthday with her. I stepped forward from behind Julian, my voice calm, steady, and unshakable after 6 years of swallowed grievances. I'd spent too long begging these people for basic kindness. Now they were begging me for mercy they didn't deserve. A small mistake? I repeated quietly, my tone sharp enough to cut through their fake remorse. Is abandoning a 6-year-old child alone on her only birthday of the year a small mistake? Is mocking her dreams as trivial a small mistake? Is choosing vanity and clout over your own family a small mistake? I scanned every single one of their guilty, desperate faces, laying out every truth they'd spent years avoiding. I worked myself to exhaustion to provide for this family. I cleaned your home, cooked your meals, raised your child alone, and endured your constant insults and neglect. I never asked for luxury. I never asked for status. I only asked for one single day of basic kindness for my daughter. One day of being prioritized. And you all refused. You chose a parody over her happiness. You chose clout over family. You chose selfishness over the little girl who loved every single one of you unconditionally. Ethan's eyes filled with frantic TRS, but they were not TRS of remorse. They were TRS of panic at losing his last chance at success. I'll change, he screamed desperately. I'll be a better father. I'll never miss another birthday. I'll devote all my time to Mia. Just forgive me. Julian Hale let out a cold, mocking chuckle, his eyes filled with unbridled disdain. You won't change. You're not sorry you hurt your daughter. You're sorry you got caught. You're sorry your selfish choice cost you your career connections. If I were a nobody tonight, if this cruise had no status to offer, you would still be mocking her birthday as trivial. Every word was the unvarnished truth, and none of them could deny it. My brother stepped forward rdly, trying to use blood ties to manipulate me. Sis, blood is thicker than water. We're family. You can't cut us off over one mistake. Family doesn't sacrifice a child for vanity, I replied firmly. Family doesn't mock innocence. Family doesn't abandon the weakest member for clout. You stopped being family the second you walked out that door tonight. My mom began crying fake TRS, trying to guilt-trip me. We raised you. We gave you life. How can you be so cruel to your own parents? You gave me life, but you never gave me love, I said flatly. You used me as a tool for my brother's success.
You ignored my pain.
You neglected my child. You don't get to claim family love now that I've finally escaped your cruelty. The entire family fell silent, defeated and humiliated. They stood on the cold Arke shore, watching our wa-rm, perfect celebration, knowing every bit of their suffering was self-inflicted. There are no second chances for this, Julian Hale stated firmly. Regret cannot erase a broken birthday. Apologies cannot fix a child's abandoned TRT. You made your choice. Now you live with the consequences forever. With that final verdict, all their fake pleas crumbled away, leaving only bitter, irreversible regret. Chapter 8 Every Selfish Choice BARS an Irreversible Price. As the wa-rm birthday celebration continued on the cruise deck, Julian Hale executed the second pa-RT of his justice, making every single selfish choice my family made CARRY its full, permanent price. He lifted his phone and issued a single order to his corporate legal and networking team, a command that would completely erase every bit of status and success my family had spent URS building. Blacklist Ethan C.A. Ruda, his mother, the C.A. Ruda in-laws, and his brother-in-law from all Hale Group partnerships, events, and industry connections. Notify every subsidiary, investor partner, and affiliated enterprise in the state. Any entity maintaining business or social ties with this family will have all Hale Group CO operation permanently terminated. This was not petty revenge. This was absolute industry justice. Julian Hale's network controlled over 70% of the city's high-end business, investment, and social resources. To be blacklisted by him was to be completely erased from elite society forever. Within 5 minutes, the fallout began exploding across my family's phones. Ethan's phone blew up with canceled contracts. His $1 million annual client partnership was terminated immediately. His company HR sent an official notice revoking his upcoming promotion and placing him on permanent performance probation, citing severe moral character defects that risked company reputation. All his years of networking, currying favor, and scheming collapsed in seconds. My brother's STA rep received full investor withdrawal. All funding was pulled. All business partnerships dissolved. His months of work and planning vanished overnight, leaving him drowning in unpaid debt and failed projects. My mother-in-law's entire social circle cut her off instantly. Every wealthy friend blocked her number and social media. All exclusive salon memberships, luxury shopping privileges, and elite social event invitations were permanently revoked. She went from a respected socialite wife to a complete social outcast in minutes. My parents lost all their high-end community connections, their luxury group benefits, and their social standing. Every friend who'd ever flocked to them for Ethan's status abandoned them immediately. They stood on the waterfront, SDA ring at their phone screens in blind horror, watching their entire future crumble to ash before their eyes. This is impossible. Ethan ROA read in agony, clutching his phone like a lifeline. I just missed one birthday. One stupid night. Why ruin my entire career? Julian Hale STA read down at him coldly from the cruise deck, his tone unyielding and fair. You sacrificed a child's entire year of hope for one night of vanity. You get one lifetime of consequences for that choice. Fair is fair. She's just a kid, Ethan screamed, desperate and unrepentant. Kids get over birthdays. Kids remember abandonment forever. Julian shot back Shaw, RPLY. I remembered mine for 20 years. Your daughter will remember yours for the rest of her life. You broke her trust for clout. Now you lose all clout for breaking her trust. I watched their total collapse with quiet calm. I felt no joy in their suffering, only sad acceptance. They'd spent years prioritizing status over humanity, vanity over love, and selfishness over family. This outcome was not revenge. It was karma. Mia tugged at my sleeve gently, tilting her head in innocent confusion. Mommy, why are they so sad? I knelt down and stroked her hair softly, speaking honest, gentle truth. They chase shiny, fake things and lost the real, things that matter most. Some mistakes can never be fixed, baby. Mia nodded quietly, then held up her half-eaten cake with a bright smile. Then let's be happy. We have each other. Her pure, ungrudging goodness was the complete opposite of my family's hollow selfishness. In that moment, I knew beyond any doubt, kindness was never weakness. It was the strongest power in the world. Down on the shore, my family stood defeated, broken, and hopeless, forced to watch the perfect happiness they'd thrown away forever. Chapter 9. I cut all toxic ties for my daughter. The perfect private birthday celebration lasted late into the night. Mia laughed, played, and danced under the cruise lights until her eyes grew heavy with tiredness. She curled up in my arms, her new STAR necklace glinting softly, a peaceful smile on her face as she drifted off to sleep. Julian Hale ride her gently to the luxury private suite, tucking her into the soft king-sized bed with rueful tenderness. He stood watching her sleep for a long moment, his eyes filled with quiet gratitude. This little girl had given him something he'd never thought possible, closure for 20 years of crippling guilt. We stepped out onto the quiet night deck together, leaving Mia sleeping soundly inside. The sea breeze was soft and cool, the harbor quiet and peaceful, a stark contrast to the chaos and cruelty of the night before. He pulled the small white fabric lily from his breast pocket, holding it gently between his fingers like a priceless relic. This flower healed 20 years of pain, he said quietly. My sister never got to give me a gift. She never got to show me kindness after I failed her. Mia did. She gave me the redemption I never deserved. I looked at him with understanding, finally grasping the full depth of his pain. All his wealth, power, and success had never filled the empty hole left by his sister's unnecessary death. Until Mia's pure, selfless kindness broke through his walls. You didn't deserve to carry that guilt alone, I told him softly. He turned to me, his gaze sincere and resolute. You deserve peace. You and Mia deserve to never be hurt or neglected again. Tomorrow morning, they will come begging for forgiveness. They will use blood ties and family guilt to break you down. Don't let them. I nodded firmly, my heart fully resolved. I won't. I'm done sacrificing myself and my daughter for toxic family that never loved us. True to his prediction, my entire family waited at the cruise boa riding ramp at dawn, exhausted and haggard from spending the entire night in the cold, open air. Their pride was gone, their status destroyed, their arrogance vanished. All they had left was desperate, groveling hope. When I walked off the cruise ship holding a sleeping Mia in my arms, they remed four-way, instantly, begging and crying and pleading for mercy. Come home with us, please, Ethan sobbed, grabbing my arm weakly. I'll be a perfect husband and father. I'll do anything. Just don't leave me. My mom cried hysterically. Daughter, don't abandon your blood family. We'll treat you and Mia like royalty from now on. I pulled my arm free coldly, stepping back to protect my sleeping daughter from their toxic desperation. I pulled out the finalized divorce agreement I drafted overnight, handing it straight to Ethan. We're done, I said clearly, my voice steady and unwavering. Full custody of Mia is mine. You have no visitation rights, no legal claim, no right to interfere in our lives ever again. Ethan's face crumpled in despair. Divorce? I have nothing without you. You had nothing the second you chose Vanity over your daughter. I replied without hesitation. I turned to my parents and in-laws, my final verdict unbreakable. I cut off all contact with his family permanently. No more begging, no more guilt trips, no more fake apologies. You lost the right to love us, for us, or claim us when you abandoned us in our darkest moment. I turned and walked away without a single backway glance, wrying my sleeping daughter Tawa the safe. New life waiting for us, leaving my toxic past and their endless regret behind forever. Chapter 10. Kindness is the greatest life counterattack. 3,020 words. 1 month later, our lives were completely transformed, free from the cold, toxic oppression of the past 6 years. Julian Hale gifted us a wa spacious seaside apartment with a private garden, bright sunlight, and quiet, safe neighborhoods. No more cramped villa rooms filled with judgment and neglect. No more endless housework for ungrateful family members. No more watching my daughter be overlooked and disrespected every single day. I quit my exhausting diner night shifts and opened my own handmade flower and bracelet studio. My heartfelt handcrafted designs quickly gained